Tina, I think, let's see, did I get the agenda?
Yep, the agenda
Very
and the
good.
minutes, everybody should have.
Okay, approval of minutes. Tina, can you please read the minutes from last week?
Yep. Wastewater operator update, Jay was not available, so Rich included that in his chairman report updates, which were November DMRs were completed and submitted to the MPCA. New valve check was installed and it shows great improvement in the I&I. Readings dropped from 16,800 gallons a day to 9,680 gallons per day, which is an approximately 40% reduction in our I&I. December quarterly testing needs to be completed. This will take approximately 4 hours and needs to be completed before the end of the month. Samples will be sent to MTVL for testing once collected. Jay from HR Green will be done on 12/31/22. We'll be bringing on Jerry Peterson from LLJ Wastewater as our new operator on 1/1. Approval of bills, East Central Energy, HR Green, Quality Flow, and Rasmussen as listed. Financial report, current checking account was $44,365 on that day. Investment funds have a balance of $196,000. It's listed there. It was down slightly because our cash value one, if I'm not mistaken, Dean, goes with the market, correct?
Well, the investment goes with the market,
Okay.
so
Okay.
it's a bond fund, so
Okay.
basically the money's there, it's just cost of, or the value of it is down because of that, so.
New business, we have the new wastewater operator. We need to create a contract and approve cost at our next meeting for a new operator. Winter road and plowing rules. We need to follow the township guidelines for plowing. We ask homeowners to keep vehicles, fish houses, boats, trailers at least 2 feet from the road. Any yard markers must be the breakaway type and allow at least 18 inches. The township will plow when we have 2 inches of or more of snow, which we had a lot in December. Sewer permit for new build. Rich has created a draft of the sewer permit that we will use. We discussed a $75 fee if a road is disturbed to cover the cost of inspections and $150 for the sewer permit fee. There's a $2,500 SAC charge as well. Discussion was tabled to the next meeting to allow time to obtain information from other cities and townships. Expansion funding update. Becky continues to work with our new representative on obtaining and the federal and state funding for our expansion. Tim Corby for the submittal application. We discussed whether or not we would have Tim Corby complete our application for funding. The cost was $1,000. We did approve that to have Tim Corby complete the application. Old business signs are in. They needed to have some re-drilling done. Tim Fairclough installed reflectors on the current signs to avoid any collisions. The survey, copy of the completed survey was posted on the website. Discussed adding a survey to the website to collect feedback from residents on what to do with this land, to sell, rent, etc. Discussion table for our next meeting. Dredging, Paul provided an email from the League of Minnesota Cities regarding our request to change the permit to Shorewood. To summarize the email, we would need to confirm that the contractor has the liability insurance. Sue was going to confirm with the potential contractor to confirm that they have liability insurance. Meeting adjourned at 8 p.m. Any corrections, changes?
Any changes? I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes from December 13th. First. Second.
Okay.
Motion carries.
All right.
All right, move on right on to the wastewater update. Jay is not here again today. Jay is dealing with some, he just sent me another text. Jay's dealing with some health issues, so I had a hard time getting together with him this last month. It's kind of turned his world upside down. It's prevented him from going on this trip. But he is working through that, and I am diligently trying to get together with him to get the information I need to get from him, which would be a copy of our permit, which he has in hand, any other information that he has and has worked on that we want to pass on to LLJ. I would like to meet with LLJ and with Jay yet, and Jay, at this point, thinks he's leaving around the 16th, so we have a few more days to try to get that meeting together. So if somebody, I'll try to keep everybody apprised when that meeting is. But that still needs to happen. He did complete the DMRs for December. I'll just kind of quick give you a read of what Jay sent to me on those. And this came from Jay today. I'll read it word for word, and this came from a text, otherwise I would have shared it with you guys via email. Hey Rich, got the numbers for you, but there were actually some that were missing. The meter pretty much read the same from December 28th to January 7th. So it looks like there's something going on with our monitoring again that I'm gonna have to take care of. I will follow up with that tomorrow and share with you guys in an email what the problem is with that. There were a couple of times during the middle of the month that they were the same as well. We can talk about that later. He did send a text to follow up on this. Nonetheless, I extrapolated the numbers for the total and got 284,400 gallons for the month. The average flow was 9,174 gallons per day, which is great. Again, keep in mind 15,000 gallons a day is what our permit is set up for. We had a high flow of 12,900, that's 12,900 gallons Christmas Day, and a low of 7,400 gallons during the month sometime. Again, the check bills have cut your flow nearly in half. Please contact Quality Flow about the meter, basically is what he's saying. And we can pull up real numbers for the days that are missing. Let's see. He noted the days that he realized that may be an issue. That's December 9th, 10th, 11th, 29th, and 30th.
Those are snow days.
Those were the dates that didn't seem to change one day to the next. Thank you. So, you know, I can go in there and take a look at it also, since I'm just getting this information now. And I think, Matt, you have access to that sensible to see that the daily flows are. But I'll follow up with Quality Flow to see if they can check into that. And where we need to go with that to see if it's a problem with the sense of home or not. Chairman update. Basically, I helped Jay with the quarterly influent testing. He sent me the test over the month of December. I performed that quarterly test with the help of Matthew there. And that was gathering the data and, you know, entering the paperwork and sending the sample off to MTVL. He did say that all readings from that influent came within parameters also. That's all I got.
Quick question for you, since we've got, the flow rates have been dropped by half.
Yep.
Is it still gonna be reasonable and prudent to, rescoping the rest of our line?
I don't know, I guess that's a question, I think we should.
I would agree with that.
All right, I don't think that we should stop from doing that in the spring.
How much have you scoped?
We've scoped probably a third of the whole system. We've gone through,
And we haven't found no issues except one home.
we have not found any issues except for one home. And the infrastructure, he says looks good, he hasn't seen any cracks, any signs of concerns whatsoever.
And you scoped the area that the ex-operator thought was the problem.
The lower, I'm not sure exactly which area he was not clear on that.
But we've determined that just replacing those valves is so.
Oh, yeah, and that's kind of what Quality Flow reported too, that they thought that we were pumping twice as much as we had to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of proven itself out right now. Our flows are basically down to what they have been over, the last couple of years, according to the information we have in that facility plan that recorded all that information. Yeah.
I think that, maybe we do another 1/3 of the properties this year, because that was what, $20,000 or whatever we spent on that? What did we spend on that, any idea? I don't need an exact figure.
I wasn't noting even close to that. I don't even think it hit the 10,000 mark in one
Yeah,
year.
it didn't seem like it was
Yeah.
that bad.
You know what month we did it?
Yeah, we did it in, right around June, we had
Yeah.
the first group, and then the second group. Quite honestly, I don't remember sending us a bill for the second round.
Was it LJJ that did it, or LL, whatever?
LLJ or Jones?
It was $2,681.25. I have one check written to them.
Okay,
Looking to see if there's any other ones after that. I don't see anything.
yeah, I don't, he did it was late in
There-
October.
There was another one, another invoice later for $825, so $3,500.
$3,500, yeah. Because the last part he did was in October, and that was from Rushway all the way down that, right past Lake Drive and down the lower hold of the lower pump station, and that was all real clear. Didn't find any issues with that side.
So if we do 1/3 of the properties next year with the same cost or approximately.
Yeah.
Do another 1/3 of them the following year. If we don't see any sort of infrastructure damage, starting, we could probably delay that again for another 8 or 10 years, unless we run into some sort of, again, flow problems.
Right, I think, we'd have to address it at the time of seeing excess I&I at the time.
Yeah.
And come up with a
Yeah.
plan to try to pinpoint what that is.
But it wouldn't be a bad idea to just know what our stuff looks like at this point in time.
That's true. yeah.
We've got a benchmark, and it's not gonna kill us. I mean, it's a couple grand a year. It's not gonna kill us for what we're trying to do.
I don't think it was ever done, since it was all put in the infrastructure, checking it out, and I agree, we should finish with the process of, and LLJ does have record of that. It's all cambered out, so.
Is there any cost effectiveness into just getting it all done this coming year? Instead of chopping it and having them come out now and then again next year?
I would say that during the year sometime we have them, it would be in the spring when they can bring the equipment out.
Yeah.
We ask them for an RLM, rough order of magnitude to finish off what we have to do, and then, we'll follow the process of voting it through and carrying it on. But as part of the PMs that we're doing, I don't think it needs to be done yearly, but if we could talk about that being a 3-year or 5-year plan in the future, if we wanted to write that up one way or another.
Yeah, again, if we don't see any cracks developing, any breaks, well, if it's breaks, then we need to address it right away.
Well, I think we're all paying more attention to what the flows are, and we understand what the flows are. So if we continue to take our monthly flow bells and we report our flow readings, and we all pay attention to them, we're gonna see when they start to spike, and then we can start having those conversations.
Yeah.
The thing that's really tough to determine on is where exactly it's coming from throughout the whole system, because it all comes to one area. So maybe in the future, if we can come up with a solution to at least break it down into zones,
Yeah.
so we can hit target areas, other than assuming where it might be a problem, that's something else that
Yeah.
they want to talk about.
And we're gonna notice it come March, April, May, when we start getting them out.
Right.
If we start running into high numbers again, then we're gonna know we have a problem somewhere.
Well, I think historically, just from past conversations and listening to past conversations, the spring months are where we experience I&I regardless. And that might even be coming from flow coming into the manholes. Again, more some pumps possibly pumping in. And even with us checking the infrastructure, without high, and this is me just, theoretically trying to figure out how water, it's from hydrostatic pressure, depending on when that pressure is, when the groundwater's up and everything, it might be, seeping in other places also. So, I think over this year was a fairly dry year and our water table was down lower. So, I think that helped with some of the findings that we found. But again, with us paying attention to I&I, and we know what our flows are, we're gonna know when to, start looking a little bit more, now that we're all starting to pay a little bit more attention to it.
See, Rich, do you know if there's a way to install sensors in a pre-existing system?
I would imagine there are. That is something that we'd have to reach out to, different companies.
I'm thinking just put foam meters in various different spots in various different manholes.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The only thing is it a mechanical pull valve that somebody would have to manually read? That would probably be the cheapest, or is it something that works over Wi-Fi or something? like that?
We want it to be magic.
Yeah, and I think, as we talk about things more and more and more, I think there are better ways that we can automate the system to make it more user-friendly, and we all can pay attention to it a little bit. Since we're talking about the wastewater operator, I did send out to everybody a copy of operator duties. We've talked about that over and over and over again. And I finally found the time to actually try to put a document together that was fairly easy to understand, and then it actually covered everything that I have learned over the last 6 months at working with Jay. And basically, our permit just kind of describe what we have to do. This kind of fills in the gaps of how we get to the point to fulfill that permit. Jay looked at this. He thought it was a very good and very plain document and described exactly what the operator does do. I sent it out to all of you guys, and Paul did come back with some corrections, very minor corrections, and I think they were more grammar and clerical and buttoning things up, and I made those corrections in this document.
Yeah. And then I found a typo on the front page.
Okay, typo. Oh yeah, I called it pounds.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll make that correction. And then I think this document, that there's some copies here for anybody that wants to hang on to this. I'll make those corrections on this, and I'd like to get it on the website and just have it there for everybody to see at any particular time. I just heard from LLJ. He gave me a rough order of magnitude based on this to be our operator and what he would charge us per month. And he came back at $1,700 a month. So I think what needs to happen is he'll produce a contract for us. This is as a verbal conversation with us. We can choose either from a year, 2-year, or 3-year contract from him. He can make that decision. And then he will provide us with a certificate of insurance too for his company as a third-party operator.
What were we paying the previous operator?
You're paying him by the hour
Okay.
at $187 an hour.
Okay. And the one before that?
And the one, the operator before that?
Yeah.
Jenny was roughly $1,700 to $1,800 a month.
Okay, it's somewhere in that range. I never saw the actual total, just
Yeah.
the after taxes and stuff.
So at that 1,700, he's taking care of everything, Rich. We have no responsibility.
And we're not having any additional hourly rates or anything like that? We got a problem, he's gonna.
Right, in most cases, that'll cover it. Like, let's say he has to go plow that road for the pond, he'll charge us for that, okay?
Do what?
If, like, he has to plow the road out to the pond,
Yeah.
or something breaks, and he has to come after hours, I would imagine there may be some specific charges. In most cases, everything's covered underneath that $1,700.
No, everything you've been doing is going to be covered.
Everything that I've been doing, which is on here, is covered for $1,700 a month. Now, I'm gonna make sure we see that in the contract before we put that down in pencil, but that's what he just shot off to me.
And in that contract, you'll have an hourly.
And then he'll have an hour related on top of that if there's an issue. And of course, if it's an emergency, we're gonna have to trust him to do that. Again, keep in mind, the PMs are done by quality flow. We know what that is. They come in and take care of our pumps twice a year. So that price is always gonna be there.
Is that under contract?
That's not under contract. We just use those because they've been taking care of the pumps all the time. LLJ can do that work too.
Oh, they
They can, yeah. They do have the personnel for that. So that's a decision if we want to make or send out for bid in the future, we can possibly do that. So with that being said, to kind of wrap this up, we still need to cross our i's, or cross our t's and dot our i's, and get LJ underneath some sort of a contract. When I facilitate that, I'd like at least a couple people involved with that, or he brings that contract, we have it in front of us for next month for proper approvals.
I want to bring something up that might be related to this, but might not. In the previous meetings, I talked about Department of Administration state procurement contracts. I got a hold of the state and filled out an application for us to become eligible to use these state contracts.
Okay.
And we need a signature on it, and I was going to bring that up under new business. But
So let's back up again. So this is a place that we can access certain contracts that we could,
goods and services, everything from snow blowers, weed whackers, to motor vehicles, to road repair, plowing services, you name it, virtually everything. Anything that a municipality within the state might require, we have access to it.
and that is that a monthly fee for that?
Yes, we are a municipality within the state of Minnesota. And actually, if it's your municipality in the state of Wisconsin, you can use it. It's a very broad category that they allow us to be on.
Can you share that, how do we get,
I left a message for the gal. I've got the,
It's free?
yes,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah. I didn't bring the entire email string, but it's basically, this form needs to be signed and then sent back to them. And I had asked her, does it need to be signed by you or can it be signed by me because I'm the one instigating it? And she hasn't answered that back. But, well, based on the information that I gave them, they said, welcome to the cooperative purchasing venture. We've not got, once we get this signed and turned in, we will be getting a username and password for it. They will be able to start utilizing the contracts.
well, can I entertain a motion to follow up this paperwork tonight? And I think it's a great idea. Do we have any other discussions or any, other than that we need to follow up on it?
I guess I don't see the purpose of it,
It eliminates our need to take
but we're
in,
looking at doing anything. We don't need a weed whacker, we don't need a snow blower, we don't need a vehicle.
we're going to be utilizing, we would be able to utilize these contracts when we're doing the expansion. They do everything from installing culverts, pipelines, construction services, you name it, they've got a vendor for it.
So let me ask you this. Is this actually a service or is it a place to receive? Well, but I guess my question is are we getting documentation to create contracts or are we using them for a service?
Like Angie's List.
Is it like an ad?
Yeah, it's an Angie's List, but it's authorized by the state of Minnesota. They've already negotiated hourly rates, they've already negotiated pricing for.
Okay, I was misunderstanding you a little bit. So basically, it just gives us another option to do price checking.
Instead of us having to, let's say we're getting $25,000 worth of road repair done, and I'm just throwing that out for a number.
Yep.
Instead of us needing to go out and getting 3 or 4 competitive bids on it,
Yep.
we go to the state contract and we choose a vendor. We can have the vendor come out and give us an estimate on it, but when we write the request for proposals, we put in their per state contract pricing, per state contract number, blah, blah, blah.
You could actually use it in bargaining as well, like this is what the state contract would do that, would you like to?
Well, we're kind of doing that now. Now we have other options to compare them to.
And you know what, I did, because I haven't used it for several years, we need to be able to get a dredging contract out of this. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, there's no reason why we can't move forward on it.
Well, it's not costing us, it's not,
It's-
right?
There is no cost involved with it.
And there's no liability as far as,
There is, it's headlined by the state of Minnesota.
Can we apply for that under the name Shorewood Park Sanitary District instead of an individual name? Or?
I did it under Shorewood Park Sanitary
Oh,
District.
okay.
Using the post office box 718, but everything that I did was under the Shorewood Park Sanitary District.
And it says municipalities on there, not special districts.
Correct.
So what's the difference
When
between
I-
a municipality and a special district?
Well-
That's what we're considered, not a municipality.
Well,
A special district is what the League of Minnesota City considers us.
according to, let me see, where the heck are
What I mean by liability is, by joining this, do we open doors, making us, exposed to any type of state jurisdiction at all?
we? We are liable, there's,
Any additional, I should say.
we're not, no. What we're doing is using something that the state has already put out for us. And I'm looking at this.
Right.
I'm familiar with the state bid process.
Yeah.
Not for services, but for equipment, like a new truck or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can order it through the state to go to their vendor. But I'm not sure about services, because that's a little bit really,
It is
Hard.
different, so when we would do that for, our pharmacy would be included in that.
Yeah.
When we would go out for an RFP, or the state, let's say the prison, or we service the sex offender program in Moose Lake, they would put an RFP out, we would be a potential provider. So your contracted rate has to, they're basically, you're negotiating with the state.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And, yeah, I'm trying to find the.
Well, because it's free, it's might as well have it in your back pocket. I don't
guess
see
would
where
like to
we-
see- I'd like to see some more board members investigate that a little bit before.
Well, yeah, instead of just using that, just use it if we need it.
Yeah, exactly, but, let's see, I'm trying to find my original emails, and I can't find it right now.
Well, we have to make sure it's easy for us too. Say like we have, Bob doing this for us, and the work has been good, the price has been good, and now we have to go in contract again. Are we going to feel that we have to go out and get other bids for everything we do?
No, you don't, with this, you don't need to get bids.
No.
You just contact them and state, this is the gutter service that I want, and what's your price tag on it? And
Okay.
the state's already negotiated the pricing on it. The letter that I sent to, the guy's name was Luke Janet, and then he sent me to Susan Brown, who's running it, or Sherry Brown, who's running that part of it, getting involved with it. And I said, I'm a member of the Shorewood Park Sanitary District Board of Directors. We own and operate a sanitary sewer district and road maintenance just west of Rush City, Minnesota, on the southeast shores of East Rush Lake. Shorewood Park has approximately 130 households in the community and have taxing authority, and we are a member of the League of Minnesota Cities. We have an operating income of approximately $125,000 a year and just received a federal grant for $1.9 million for expansion of our facilities. Prior to retiring and moving to this jurisdiction, I worked with the Met Council and for a while purchased motor vehicles, equipment, and services through the state procurement contracts. My question is, naive as they may sound, is Shorewood Park eligible to use these procurement tools? Will we require any training to use these? And if not, who do we contact to get these answers? And we got our board meeting second Tuesday of the month, and then reply we get before then would be great. And she sent me the application, which was basically just name, address, phone number, and email address. I filled it out, sent it back to her, and she sent me a letter back saying the joint powers agreement is between the state of Minnesota through its Commissioner of Administration, Office of State Procurement Division, and the Shorewood Park Sanitary District, authorized entry pursuant to a variety of different state statutes. So, yeah, this allows us to use the state bargaining power to purchase goods and services. And you said you're familiar with it.
I've done some with the
Yeah.
city of Roseville, just for products, not
Correct.
services, so I'm not
Correct.
sure how services would work. that
And,
way.
and at the council, we had contracts for drain cleaning, okay, because we wash 150 buses a night, and our floor drains get plugged, and our sewer systems get plugged. So we had a jetting service come through by a state contract. We have a variety of underground tanks that need to be dug out and replaced, so we had a contract for getting vendors to do that. Once we get signed up for it, we can start digging into it a little bit deeper and see what we may or may not want to be using of it. But this gives us a lot of transparency when it comes to buying whatever we buy.
Well, I'm not familiar, I guess I'm not familiar with it, it sounds like a great idea. Can you,
I'll send you the link to it, and you
Yeah.
can start poking around in it today, until we get this signed and sent in.
right, why don't we do that? Why don't you send us the link?
Yeah.
We can all kind of educate ourselves on it a little bit more. And then before we make Har's decision on signing it, it doesn't sound like Har's decision.
No.
But let's just do our due diligence, send us the information, share us, and then we'll do a little bit of poking around.
Mm-hmm.
And let's bring it up next meeting.
Okay.
I think it's, it's something definitely to look at for sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time to do that. All right. I guess that's all I have. Is there other questions or anything else you think we needed to cover as far as operations at this point in time? All right, I think we'll move on to financial updates.
Just got the statement in for the end of the month, the end of the year actually, and value is at $201,495.56, which is up about 5,000 more than it was at the end of November. The cash account went up $4.58, so that is now at $17,014.88.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our checking account balance as of today was $42,026.72. And I can add into that right now, we received a check from the League of Minnesota Cities for $469. This was dividends from a trust, and so the letter that we received with it said, "We're pleased to enclose a check for your share of the $10 million dividend being returned to members of the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust Poverty Casualty Program." So the funds are being returned. It says, if the trust fund balance receives a level or reaches a level that is more than sufficient to pay claims and plan for contingencies, the trust can return funds to its members. We reevaluate every year based on losses experienced by members, projections, investment results, legislative and coverage changes. That's what they make their decision. So we received a check in the amount of $469 that was deposited into our checking account. So,
Do you want me for that? All right, we went to Scott.
Yeah, they went over there earlier. All right, I guess let's move on with the presentation of the bills, I guess.
So I have East Central Energy that's already actually been paid because it's automatically deducted from our checking account of $135.53. And then we received a bill from HR Green in the amount of $1,828. This was administrative, field personnel, and professional hours that were billed to us.
For which month?
The date on this was December 16th. So I'm assuming that this says professional services through November 30th. So
Okay.
yes.
So that's November.
Yep.
Last is 18th. November.
And just to add on here, I noticed this today, and I probably should be adding this on there, but, so each month, Altop charges $180 a month to us. It's automatically deducted from our account.
Who's that?
Altop,
That's
that's
an
our
accounting.
accountant.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's something that we want to look at for this year, if we want to continue that.
What are they doing for us?
So they create our quarterly bank reconciliation, so they do that. And then they're paying our quarterly taxes and preparing our I-9s. So, or our W-2s, sorry. The W-2s. So it's considerably less now because we don't have anybody on para. Because I don't have para and Denny is not, our operator isn't doing that anymore. So, I don't know if that's something that we want to look at for the future, but
Is that something that you would take on as the clerk then?
it would be something that I could take on, but I would want to adjust my wage. I would want to propose to adjust my wage if I were to do that.
All right.
So they're paying our quarterly tax,
State and federal. Yep,
state
Yep.
and federal, that's not payroll tax.
that's not, so they do the payroll taxes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because for anyone on the board, they're, any of the board members at $50 a month that you're getting,
Mhm.
your taxes are taken out of that. So they're paying those in on a quarterly basis
Okay.
and then preparing your W-2s at the end of the year and sending them out.
Okay, so we get W-2s for this?
Yeah.
So at this point now, it's reduced considerably compared to what it was last year.
Correct.
Um,
And the bank reconciliation is something that's done on a quarterly basis as well.
Okay.
So, and that's basically, and I presented those reports where they're just going through, it's just a summary of our expenditures.
So it's checks and balances.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so I think the main reason that was in there in the past was for checks and balances and another set of eyes on all the financials, right? Okay.
I'm assuming so, yes.
Okay.
So,
And what was it?
it's $180 a month, and so because they have access to our account, so.
Yeah. Mhm.
So they take that money out, they pay those quarterly taxes out of our checking account automatically as well.
And is that included in that $180?
Yes, so that's their fee regardless, they charge $180
Their
a
work,
month.
not the tax.
Okay.
Yeah,
But then, okay, so I got a naive question, because reading through the bylaws, we're supposed to have a vice chairman, a secretary, and a treasurer. You're the treasurer, right?
Yeah, supposed to be secretary, treasurer.
But you're handling the checkbook
as a clerk.
as a clerk,
So,
which means question, why wouldn't you be doing that? Because you got the treasurer title,
Doing what?
handling the checkbook. Or why shouldn't you be a member of the board then, taking care of that? I'm just going off of our bylaws.
Okay, we're just carried on from the way that it's always operated
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah.
We have not made any changes whatsoever. She replaced a person that held the same position
Yeah.
at that point in
Yeah,
time.
but then our bylaws state that we're supposed to be having an election for officers this month. And that we're supposed to have a budget put together in August so that we can put it in the paper so that,
Well, let's just back up a second.
yeah,
Okay? Let's back up to where we were with the question that Tina had.
yeah.
And she's talking, and we're in financials right now, okay? So let's just back up and take care of that issue right now.
Mhm.
Do we want to change, the question is, do we, at this point in time, do we want to make any changes or continue to use all Altop? Right? As a
yep,
checks
and
balances.
it's just a,
And it's costing us $180. At this point in time, I don't see a reason why we should change. I think we should keep the checks and balances. If we wanted to turn that over to one-stop shop and have Tina do that, we can talk about that in the future. And I guess I'm going to ask you, Matthew,
Do you want to do it, Tina?
I have no, I would be fine doing it either way, honestly. I'm not looking to add anything on, but when I look at that, we're paying $180 a month not as a board member or employee, but I'm like, as a homeowner in the district, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money that we're spending to farm that out.
Okay.
When, for our checks and balances, as a board, we could be looking at that and reviewing that on a monthly basis.
And I think we should be doing that too, so I guess, as far as transparency goes, I don't have a problem with it at all, if that's something that we want to offer Tina, I'm ready.
But I also, like I said, I only bring it up because I know that starts checking, it's obviously out, and I know that's when you see that, it's just, it made me pause, I guess.
What would you please have to be to?
I honestly have no idea, because I just saw it today, and it's something that I thought we could table it to a future meeting, but I wanted to at least share it, because I don't know if people knew that we were paying that, that one quarter.
Well, I think it's something we can, take another time and think about and evaluate instead of jumping right in and changing it without.
Do a little.
You, yeah. Our taxes filed at the end of the year?
Yes.
Okay, so
They're
they're
gonna
not
pay
paid
for
for
file those taxes.
You think you're okay doing that too?
Yep, I did that when I worked for the school district. So,
What can we file?
what they're filing, but as far as the quarterly taxes, if they're using, the state website, she's going in and making everything that
Yeah.
way. So, there's, I'm familiar with that process. Again, not something I'm thinking that needs to change today, but as a homeowner, I just wanted to share it because I think that it's something that people need to be aware of.
Will you look into it for us and maybe call us what, how many hours it would take you and what you would want to be compensated with?
Yes, I have no idea, like, okay,
We'll be back about next month.
yeah,
Okay.
yep.
All right, is there anything else on the bill? Yeah, we start reading. Okay, I do have one other thing too. I sent you that information about insurance, homeowners insurance.
Yes.
Okay. So that has been, an issue since July. When the turnover was, we did not know if we had our insurance, we covered our insurance. And, bills have been going to, not the PO box, the Jenny's address. We were getting forwarded on, and what happened was, I'm missing out on, with water, which is the water pump people for the 32 homes that have a pump there. Is apparently that's tied into that same, and I did not want to go through it. I sent it to everybody, did you guys all get a copy of it? Regardless, the yearly bill is $1,600 at this point in time. Hermanson paid that, covered us for this next year. We owe them $1,600 for that choice, and that's for our insurance, which is also listed in the this one says. So they're part of that cost this year. So that is our insurance here. Now, what we need to do is, we need to look at our policy, see if that fits in the policy, and see if it can be, for it.
that we have to take 20% of the fees of the company. So we're still looking at other pockets of money. They don't have that option. And that's what we're other pockets that due to the kind of money.
One of those was that EPA,
Yeah.
loan that we approved $1,000 to go with that.
Yeah.
So that was under that. There is a Zoom meeting set up for Thursday at 7 o'clock. I think that we're all invited. You guys all receive that invite on the board.
Why do you put that?
I would say that, I'm gonna ask this question, I think that would almost be under the lines of a special meeting that I think we all would need to be paid for. If we're gonna attend that meeting, even though that meeting right now is just to strategize and to come up. So it's a time to offer our questions to the question and come up with an idea of how, or what the next step is, because basically we have to start from scratch. New bids have to be put out, new budgets have to be put together. There's work, a lot of work that needs to be done. There's gonna have to be up money put up front. And the question I have with the board right away is who's paying for that bid. So really, the meeting right now that is scheduled for Thursday at 7 o'clock via Zoom is really just to ask questions and try to put a plan together at this particular point to get involved.
But I don't remember right now, we just got for special meeting. I never had.
Well, that's not fair. I first loved the 15 on Thursday.
I mean, I have no problem attending, but I don't.
Yeah, right.
We give you an hour of the day, or we just.
We're gonna get paid $50, so I think we're gonna have to pay $50 to take notes and keep minutes on this. That's like. That's a huge disagreement.
Okay. So questions on, I guess you answered that because of that.
One other thing to be clear, we have not seen any documentation on this funding yet. According to the letter, it basically was just an email that came out with, and so we really don't, I didn't hear this 80/20 or see that on any of the emails. Or it wasn't mentioned to me by, Tim Corby in any of the emails exactly what this funding was either. So that was new for me to hear that. Again, we're gonna be hearing new things over and over and as this gets, moves forward.
We get more information around this one point in time, because I don't know exactly when they'll be coming up with everything.
They put like an expiration date on that, something like if you don't use it by this date.
You'll go ahead and do all that information.
I think, and it's kind of up to you, whatever our process will tell you. If you come to a point where you go, well, you don't want to pay the 20%, you make the table of that money, stuff that kind of thing. I think this, I'm not an expert on this.
We have some DNR, that's what DNR grant money coming to us.
I thought there was something sort of,
Yeah.
application for.
Yeah, I can't find a big on my history, but at one point in time, I know that, like, we were the number 27 priority, like 250 or so that the state had. There was nothing approved, no, it was, I was in a fund, that was coming from, but that was a significant amount of money too.
That was 1.9 big groups.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly how it all works. Hopefully we'll find out a little bit more.
Talking about that funding, everyone received that email from Becky Myers about, sending an email to the representatives, et cetera, about the other funding that's available.
And that was basically the.
Yeah.
I've been sending emails.
Yeah.
I hope other people.
Yeah. Sweet deal is released.
kids in there, I guess, do business, they're gonna do business, is what it bring up now. You had some issues that you did since I think that was about it, you had to do with bylaws.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules that our bylaws say that we're supposed to be doing. Like I said, we're supposed to be electing officers in January, we're supposed to be having a meeting in January, we're supposed to have a budget put together back in August. And when this group is all fighting with this, I understand that. You know, we've been going at it for 6 or 8 months now. And it's getting to, probably going to be getting to the point where we can't just plead ignorance and I don't know, this is the way it's always been done, even if it's been done incorrectly. And when you're talking to the attorney, you know, maybe hand him the list that we've got here with some of my concerns on it and say, you know, do we need to be worried about this? Because if he says, don't worry about it, keep that in work for a while, then we'll quit worrying about it.
I agree with, I'll 10 minutes, hold some of the conversation from them and just have some general conversations and asking if possible. Need to send this email and have it answer some specific questions.
Yeah.
Maybe I get a price where I just sit down and have them come to a meeting and explain some of this.
Yeah.
We also asked them what it takes to change bylaws,
Yeah.
because I think that a lot of
Oh,
those,
it's update.
Yeah.
Difficult. Good concept. Yeah.
What did I do now?
so I think that, as we all know, I attended 3 or 4 meetings in person before I became a board member. There was very low interest in our neighborhood on becoming a board member. And Paul can attest to this as well. And I think that elections are a moot point, because I don't think there's anybody out there that wants to do it. And I think that a lot of the bylaws are somewhat unnecessary and or redundant. And I think that if we can change them as a board, I think it would be in our interest.
Make sure you live the reading document.
I agree, but we also are, have time frames. I mean, we do it once a month. You know what, so during, right now we're dealing with sewer and.
There's only
the
so much
guys
work
on-
each
yes.
individual can possibly.
So, I mean, but do we want to make a motion to have, what's his name, look at it? And then the next month, then it's going to be, well, okay, here's the bylaws we want. Now we're going to create a committee.
Yeah.
So it's not, I mean, we're not inviting it because we don't want it. There's a lot of steps there.
And I will say also, we've done a lot in the last 6 months as a board. We've accomplished an incredible amount of work.
There's a lot of transparency involved.
And I think anybody would agree with that. I think 98%, 99% of the people in our community would have seen that through our website, through our interactions and our work. And I think that any legislator would agree.
And I'm hoping that by people seeing the change in how the board is working and stuff, if they are really interested in being a board member, that they would question us and send and hopefully an email to say,
Yeah.
attend the meeting, said, I really am interested in like to be a board member.
And right now, we're a number short than what we had in the past. So, I am always open to having them as board members and help with the local business. Yeah, there's a lot of work here.
I'm not giving that.
We can find out that too. We won't have a tie. I suppose he would be the tiebreaker.
Oh,
We need these listening board members. Whether we put it on the website or we throw it in when they send the monthly billing out, that, you're looking for the board members and if you're interested, contact them.
Well, I guess anybody get interested is, we're always come to meetings, get involved. We're always looking for, I don't want to be doing this forever. I don't want to get to load on my mind every day that I come home. So I would entertain campaign the fact that anybody that's interested, and I don't think I remember, I said I'd do it for 1 year, from July to July as an interim. That's something that's gonna be enforced, because I did bring that up. My number one goal is to, keep us afloat, get our operator back, get that taken care of, get that back online, so we're really close to that process. The next big thing that's gonna take a lot of work is, it's gonna take a lot of work from everybody in the community that's, they need to understand it, we're gonna put that out there, to understand what this actually is. Even if it's us handing out a flyer with some more what's going on, there's not every person meeting, we got a strike interest, because it's possibly gonna cost us some money, we understand, is it worth us spending that money? It's, we don't all understand what that facility plan is. I don't think, I'll take a show of hands right here, you read that facility plan there. I really do right now. There's a lot of information there, I want to send it to everybody. I brought a couple copies of the active plan of the expansion, which is really just the pipe and drill. But for the information, that really holds a lot of information to that facility. Really tells everything what our community does and what it's all about. Understanding that facility plan is going to help us ask the right questions as we read through like this expansion process that's going on. It's not only going to have to come from our people here on the existing Shorewood, but it's only one home over there. They all need to understand it. I don't think everybody did understand it the last time. Last roll up, we got to make sure that they understand what it is all there. That meeting on Thursday is going to be a spitball, plan together on how to move forward. Is there anything else that we need?
Well, can you make a motion tonight to put, the request or send out notice on minutes that we're looking for? So people are aware of the meeting minutes.
I do it from the ad, okay. So after talking to just checking with other cities, what their process is, they do not distribute unapproved minutes until they are approved. So going forward, I will send out approved minutes after the meeting, once they're approved, but nothing will be distributed or posted until they're approved.
Okay, so basically, it's just everybody's a month behind.
Yep.
And if they want to understand what's going on a
They can-
month basis, they can come to the website or
Yep,
something.
full time meeting.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yep.
Why would we put up the minutes? I think having a process that was followed in the past.
Yep, it was, and I just think to protect ourselves, that, to not put anything out there until it's been approved by everybody. Because I most certainly can make typos and miss things, and so I want to make sure that before I post something with my name on it, that it's been approved by everybody.
Well, with the exception of maybe last month's minutes, all the minutes that I posted prior.
They've all been.
They've all been.
And I did, you got those emails, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
They're all.
So let me ask you a question, if we're talking about minutes, because I thought about this, and this is only because of what we do on I go through 1,000 meetings a day, and we have software that actually has meeting minutes on it. And it really is quite convenient, because you could be doing this as we're doing the minutes, and they're done over. When the meeting's done, and it's a done process, then you don't have to go back and rebuild.
Yep.
I watched my wife struggle as she did the minutes of the township over and over and over again, so I found it really, because she was listening to a recording and had to try to put the minutes together. Is that something we want to look into, some sort of software that would make it easier? I'm just throwing that out there right now for spitball.
And I thought of recording it myself, just because there are so many things that are going on, and you want to make sure you're not missing anything. I have no idea what the cost of that.
I think there's actually some free software, light software.
What are you talking about, like dictation software that it takes the words that we're saying?
No, it's actually, it basically is, you start with the minutes, you just still ask the questions. Once we get that minute from developed, we basically do the same minute over time. Okay. And he keeps record of it, and then shows what he's talked about last week, and then you update for the start. So there's software for things.
There is a minute cell. Okay, I never typed that.
Basically, you just fill it in as you go.
Okay.
I couldn't do it because I typed this. I got a lot of sheet like professional paper that. It's just something I throw out there.
One of the time, say, or something.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think, I mean, it's something if you wanted to look into that, make some things, I encourage that. One thing that we skipped over, and we should probably talk about it, we talked about last meeting, was the permit for sewer permits. And I think the holdup was, I basically just pulled a permit off of the internet, basically the low permit that we kind of looked at for a sewer permit. And we talked about a sewer permit. The only reason we're bringing this up is Todd asked me this all the time. How much are you gonna charge me for a whole permit? And I came up with $150 for just the permit, and that would cover our operator full inspected, and then 75 if you have to dig into the road. We tabled that amount. I did not check into it. I basically just based it off of, legal permits. Does anybody have a problem with those two numbers?
My question is not the carry using the number for that.
That was the expense we did.
So we just use it for the criminal. I just want to verify because.
If that,
I think if you have a buffer, it's $200 and we charge $150 for the permit.
you're right. Verify with our future operator.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move it on to the next month then. Just stop this process of being a whole yet. All right, we plan on being for next month.
So now if he does pull that permit, the friends and things and stuff, they go.
That would be as of right now, number two, yeah. Two of us up there. That question is.
So question, where are the 20 RVs?
Oh, I highlighted that,
That was that drainage system on it. No, that was, when he did this report, put that together, that's when Peterson was still there, and he had the 20 RVs there. So that accounted for the Peterson house. Plus the road dock pulled up, that's where all those 20 RVs were dumped in the first place.
Now we don't have.
Actually, we have less volume to consider. So if you wanted to rework that up there, that'd be something that, I think it's just a formula for season. Always worries me, you have to have it done like this. You never know what you're gonna get in there. Well,
You're right, no.
I think it's not only with seasonal people, we had
Yes, yeah, weekender.
weekender and so on and so forth. Another thing that when we approach it, sure is with that expansion, there could be 2 VRBO type boxes up there that you might want to figure out if there'd be extra fees for them being on our sewer system also. I know that just out of the county has stringent rules about VRBOs and so on and so forth.
Because they can say 20 people.
Right, so then, maybe something that we could have to look at in the future, maybe we can talk about that expansion.
There's a lot of vehicles there.
Yeah. And it's just something to protect, it's a business, right? It's not a roll and don't be dumping into our system. If they tie in, if they don't tie in the existing system, I don't know what they have this new system right now.
The one has a mount system, the other one has a holding. And what I've heard, you have to pump that every time you get.
And that's part of the lease, so that'd be something that we have to approach. With that, is there any other new business? Anything else we can talk about?
They're associated with the dredging, there was a request to see that the dredger had liability insurance. I checked and they do. I also am having a whole meeting with the DNR Thursday morning. And I know there was concerns about if we will be responsible, Shorewood if the permits are in our name and they hit a pipe and sewage goes out of the way when he gets basic. So I'm going to ask him that. So I do have a list of questions, if anyone is interested or wants to add to what I'm going to discuss with them. I have a copy here.
Who's the director?
Jethro Waterworks, West Hampton. Yeah. What's her last name? Yes, yeah, and Matthew, I think his brother's name is. Yeah. And I did, ask about, when the dredging instead of the mechanical using the hydro, sucking the whole mouth out and blowing out. There's too much water that will come out of it. And that's why we have to look into it. But I think, to reiterate at a previous meeting, it was, confirmed that we didn't expect that dredging to interfere with the university of lives.
What did they estimate if they did the job they do? Is it a summer job?
Okay. Early next fall. So that's, meeting this Saturday with the dredger and folks on the channels. We'll see where we want to go in this. You like to talk to me if I lose later?
No, I mean, the storm fund or whatever.
I don't know what that is.
That's what was the lottery team, yes, we got constitutional amendment a few years back for, when that was, using lottery proceeds for, police.
Oh. No, I don't know. One. Usually when I go. Never hurts.
Real channel.
Real.
All right, is there anything else we need to talk about?
Yes, I would like to set up these tables at a similar to next time, then we can look at each other. I'm always like that.
Yep.
Other than that, no, I'm good, thank you.
This one is supposed to be.
Any motion to adjourn?
Bert.
The second.
Okay,